This is a Sports Catastrophe production.
Hey there, Heather, ho there, Chef Cutter Diamond welcoming you to another Sports Catastrophe on this day. And on this day, February 18th, 1990, one of the most unbelievable Daytona 500s took place. And it had a very unlikely winner come out of the woodwork. And a finish that was heartbreaking for a lot of people. So anyway, Daytona would host this race February 18th, 1990. And there would be a lot of competitors and all that. They had to do qualifying. During qualifying round, Ken Schrader would be the pole sitter with Dale Earnhardt, the Intimidator, number 3 in your programs, finishing on the outside pole. So they did all that. It was actually shocking that Ken Schrader had won the pole for the 3rd year in a row. And all that. Well, Schrader actually had to begin racing his backup car due to a practice crash. And he had driven up to 2nd place. So, anyway, Geoff Bodine had led the first lap of the season. Richard Petty would spin ahead of Phil Parsons on lap 27, left them all 4 flat tires flat. So anyway, on lap 43, there would be an accident with Mike Alexander, Alan Kulbicki, Phil Parsons, and Rob Moroso, who was making his Winston Cup, like the main NASCAR debut. And there were a lot of problems and all of that. Halfway through, AJ Foyt, the 1972 Daytona 500 winner, had to quit because he had a bizarre problem. He said that there were fumes produced by his new racing helmet and he was intoxicated. Dale Earnhardt had looked pretty impressive, dominating with 3/4 of the laps and all that. So anyway, Earnhardt had a lead of 40 seconds, but unfortunately Geoff Bodine had spun, forcing a yellow and meaning that all the cars would be close to each other. On the restart, Derrike Cope had the lead with Bobby Hillin Jr. second, Dale Earnhardt third, Terry Labonte fourth, and Bill Elliott fifth. Earnhardt looked pretty impressive. And all that. With a few laps remaining, there was a problem. Rick Wilson had lost an engine, and a piece of his bell housing from the engine had tumbled to a stop on the backstretch. Earnhardt would unfortunately run over that one piece of thing and shredded the right rear tire. He managed to hold his wheel straight and all that. So Earnhardt was practically out of the race and all that. And an unlikely hero, Derrike Cope from Spanaway, Washington, beat Earnhardt and took his first ever Winston Cup victory, winning the 1990 Daytona 500. His previous best was 6th place. Well, finish on the Winston Cup race. The funny thing is that Dale Earnhardt's crew took the shredded tire and hung it on the wall of the race shop, using the loss as motivation to win the Winston Cup in 1990. So he won the championship anyway. Derrike Cope would make the rounds on overnight TV, late night TV, about his victory and all that. Somehow, in some way, the TV ratings were the lowest in history. I don't know why. All that. So Derrike Cope actually competed in a NASCAR Cup Series in 5 consecutive decades: 80s, 90s, 2000s, 2001, 2010s, and 2020s, and all that. Yeah, he had his major achievement was the NASCAR Cup Series. He won 2 races. He won the Daytona 500, but he also won at Dover. So he ended up 18 points. That was his moment. At least he wasn't a one-win wonder. He won another one. So the final standings were Derrike Cope in first, Terry Labonte in second, Bill Elliott third, Ricky Rudd fourth, and Dale Earnhardt fifth. And must have hurt Dale Earnhardt because 155 laps he was leading. The famous scenes at the scenes were of the Earnhardt's wife and baby daughter Ashley listening to the race and learning that Dale Earnhardt was out somehow. So that just stung and all that. So the top 5, alongside Bobby Hillin and Rusty Wallace, were the only ones to finish all 200 laps. All that. There were a lot of races and a lot of accidents and all that. So it was just unbelievable that Derrike Cope, of all people, would win the Daytona 500, coming out of freaking nowhere. Also to note is the appearance of one. Well, it reminded people in 2011 when Trevor Bayne won the Daytona 500 how unlikely the winner could be. So to me, I think Derrike Cope's victory was huge, especially after Earnhardt had basically run over a piece of engine and it just stung for a while. How, Earnhardt had the race all but won and didn't, and of course, we all know about his losing streak at Daytona 500 until 1998, in which he was always so close, but yet in 98 he managed to finally win the big one. Just weeks after John Elway won the Super Bowl, so it was basically a redemption song, but it could have been much different if Earnhardt had finished the 1990 Daytona 500. Anyway, I'm Jeff Diamond, and I do